So we have around 10 to 11 question wherein we need to figure out the angles. So which angles? We have angle A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. So each question you have to pause for every screen. There are around 3-4 screens. Pause for every screen. Think about what is given, what is that we have to find, and so on and so forth. So pause. Okay, how do we start thinking about angles over here? First thing is, are we dealing with parallel lines? Only then we can proceed with such scenarios. So we have, yes, parallel lines indicated by these two arrows. So your parallel lines are 1 and 2. And you have transversal line, that is your transversal line. Right? Now, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with angles between the transversal line, interior angles. And one is on one parallel line, other is on the other parallel line. So we won't be able to relate with vertically opposite angle or 180 degree and all of that. That is linear pair. Angles on the same line and all of those, if you guys remember. We can't do that. What we have to do here is, yes, consider them to be alternative interior angles. They are alternative interior angles, right? So you have parallel lines. You have a transversal line. And one of the angle is with, say, line 1. Other angle is with line 2. One is to the left, another is to the right, thus making them as an alternative interior angle pair. And so A will be equal to 48 degree. Okay. Similarly, we have this as well. There's nothing fancy happening over here. So we have first line, second line, which are parallel to each other. That's the very first thing that you need to notice. Then we have a transversal line. Then we have the space between the transversal lines, this space. Then we have one angle adjacent to, part of the first parallel line, the other angle related to second parallel line. So they are not neighbors, they are not adjacent, but they are in two different space, left and right. So they make up a pair of alternative interior angles, and so this is 52 degree. So this is a good question, try. So we have two parallel lines, very first thing. Without that, don't start. Then look for the transversal line. So this one transversal line. Then look for the angle. Angle C is what we have to figure out. So angle C is on the left. And on the other line, on the other side, you have angle 80. So this is the one related to angle C. So this is what? Yes, 81 degree because of alternative interior angle. Again, transversal line. Sorry, parallel line, then transversal line. So we have one angle, the unknown angle is on the left. The known angle should be on the right and on the other line, right? So this is line 1, this is line 2. D is related to line 1. 99 is related to line 2. It's touching line 2. Can you see that? D is related to line 1. Forget about transversal line. Transversal line is common to both. Right? It's common to both. So that is not to be considered. That has to be ignored. So if we ignore this, okay. So 99 is related to which line? Second line. And D is related to which line? The first line. So just look for the parallel lines which is related to. So D is related to this parallel line. And we have 99 related to the second parallel line. So D will be equal to what? Yes, it is equal to 99 degree. Reason being they are alternative interior angles. Okay, yes. Try. This is one tricky. We have few tricky questions. Now it's the time for you guys to Done and done. First thing is, where are the parallel lines? Always go with that. Parallel lines are here. How do I get to know that? Because of such arrows. Can you see that? Thus making the other lines as transversal. So you have one transversal line and two transversal line. Not an issue. Okay, not an issue. Now, E is what we are trying to figure out. So I can ignore the other transversal line. I can just ignore that. So all I can do is I can just consider this, honestly. Forget about the other line. Just look at this. You can keep your hand on the other part in your exams and just look at the one which you are dealing with. So you have E related to line 1, 69 related to line 2. E is on the right hand side, 69 is on the left hand side. So E will be equal to 69 degree with the help of alternative interior angles is what we are able to tell. Now, how will we figure this out? Think about it, pause, think. I'll give you guys a clue. We need to make use of linear pair. I hope you guys remember linear pair. This was the theory part that I showed you guys. Let me zoom. Yeah, can you see this? Linear pair. Adjacent angles like A and B formed by two lines intersecting each other are called linear pairs. And the linear pair adds up to 180 degree. But why are we doing 180 degree? I gave you guys a clue. That's okay. But what's the point? Why did I do that? Think about everything. Think about everything. Now, using linear pair, right? Linear pair. I will call this. I'll find this angle. How will I find that angle? Because 80 degree minus 132 degree should be the other angle. Why? Because 132 degree and this angle, I'll call this as say A degree, should add up to 180 degree because they form linear pair. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll make use of this a bit higher end. So we have two parallel lines and we have a transversal line, right? And then you have one angle on the left. The other angle is over here, which is on the other line, which is equal to angle F. I'll call this as angle F, as simple as that. So these two are angle F. They have to be. Like all the problems which we did, whatever the name this carries, even that other angle will be of the same name. Okay, we can do that. Not an issue because they measure the same thing. We can call them with the same name. So this is also F degree, that is also F degree. More than the name, the measure is what is F. Since this is F degree, this has to be F degree. So we know that 132 degree plus F degree should be equal to 180 degree because they are linear pair. Okay, next clue is if I have this to be say something a number as 10 plus another number say F is equal to 12. How much is F? What do you think is F? It's a count from 10 to 12, is it not? So basically 11 and 12. So basically 2. It has to be 2 because 10 plus 2 is 12. Also, can I find this 2, that's our F, by subtracting 12 from 10? 12 minus 10 is 2. On a similar line, I'm going to subtract 180 and 32. So 180 minus 132 will give me 50, 48. So F degree will be 48 degree. Because when I add 48 with 132, I'll get 180. So this has to be 48 degree and this is alternative interior angle plus linear pair. I don't have space, so I'm writing the shortcut. Okay, this is so many numbers are there. So before I go to finding G, why is 122 equal to 122 and why is 58 is equal to 58? Yes, because they are vertically opposite angles. Okay, yes. Now, let's look at linear pair. Sorry, let's look at parallel line, my bad. Let's look at the transversal line. Now, you have G to be outside. See, these are all inside. This is outside. So we have to talk about outside angles. So forget about inside angles. Let's talk about outside angles. So we have 122 and 58 as the outside angles. Now G is to the G is below. I'll not call it as left and right. G is below. So we have to consider which angle? Above angle. And this will be how much? This has to be 122 because we are making use of alternative exterior angle. Right? Same funda, just that instead of being inside, it's outside. Alternative, it's outside, so it's exterior angles. Okay? So just have a look at it again. Which lines I am considering, how is the actual diagram? Have a look at that. Done. Next. Again, to confuse you guys, there are quite a few lines over here. So we have one parallel line. Always start with the parallel lines. Then look at whatever you have to find. You have to find H. Then draw the transversal line. Then look at it. Is it interior? Yes, we have interior. Is there any other interior angle? Yes, one more. Is it on the other side? Yes. One is, the unknown is on the left hand side. The known is on the right hand side. And so we can write this as 75 degree, making it an alternative interior angle pair. We're almost there. Come on, we'll finish it. Oh, last two. That's it. This looks complicated. If you guys do it, then you can take a break. These two questions, both the questions though. So we have one parallel line, second parallel line, and ignore everything. Consider only the line which has your I. I is with this line and the other line is, just a second, I'm choosing the color. This. That's all we need to care of. We don't have to care for anything else. This is what we are looking at. This is I. It's on the interior. So we just have to consider interior angles. So interior angles is this, that is 70 degree and 54 degree. So which matters between these two? Yes, I is on the bottom, 54 is on the top. So we just have to consider the alternative one. So this has to be equal to 54 degree. And this makes it alternative interior angles. Again, if you guys found without me telling it, then good. Then you can take a break. If not, you are not going to take a break. One more good question. This is one parallel line. We need one more parallel line to do anything about anything. Can we consider this parallel line? But there is no angle only, so no point. Can we consider this parallel line? Well, it has to be. There's no other option. Then what is the transversal line? This transversal line, should we consider that? No, because J is not there. J is over here. And I'll consider that. And then I'll ignore everything else in my mind. I'll see where J is. It's over here. And the far away line, that is line 3. This is line 3 for me. So line 3 and this is line 1. So line 1 is over here. With line 3, what are the angles? We have the angle 57 degree. Is it alternative interior angle? Let's have a look. This is at the top. This is in the bottom in some sense. They are both on the inside. They are on the different parallel lines. So yes, they are example of alternative interior angle making J as 97 degree. Again guys, they are in two different parallel lines, thus making this as alternative interior angle. So all in all, yeah, this is it. One last time I want to repeat, your alternative interior angles has to do with two parallel lines. Yes, 1 and 2. And you have a transversal line. If this is your first angle, other angle has to be related to the other parallel line. And if it's say this is interior, so I'll have to consider interior angles. So these are two angles. So this line has 4 angles, but we are considering only interior angles. So there are two interior angles, but we are considering on the alternative side. If this is on the left, the other one should be on the right, and so this is the one selected. Next, if I happen to choose this as the angle, so the other angle has to be on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 possibilities. Now, this is an exterior angle. So I have to consider only exterior angle. So this 2 gets eliminated. Next, this is on the right of the transversal. So we need to consider an angle which is left of the transversal for our alternative exterior angle. See, I am just talking about alternative angles, not anything else. So this is your example of alternative exterior angles. So this is how you think. See how I made such complicated question easy. All I did was, yes, I took a pencil. In this case, I had a colored pencil in some sense. I drew the line, I drew the transversal line, and then observed. So you guys can do the same, but using a light pencil and a scale. Okay, you can do that. Okay, you can pause and have a look. From here, you're not looking at the answer. From here, you're learning from me the methodology. How did I go on thinking? How did I make things simpler? That's what you have to learn.